This is a companion video to the Discipline and Setting Limits videos, so I invite you to watch those if you have not yet. Also, a special thanks to Betsy Hoke of Mentoring Montessori for offering all of this sage advice about power struggles. It is completely normal and healthy for children to try to exert their will and get what they want. It is a necessary step in their development as they experiment with their self agency, become more independent, and explore what they have control over. And this typically begins to happen around age 2. About this same time, children begin to develop the language to disagree and argue, which they like to try out every chance they get. This can lead to unpleasant and unproductive power struggles between children and adults. Let's revisit our triangle that represents the 3 elements that impact children's development. Power struggles often result when we are attempting to control the child. Remember, the only elements we can control are the environment and our actions as adults. Therefore, in order to avoid power struggles or remove ourselves from them, we have to focus on our own actions. It is completely natural and necessary for children to explore their will. And there are ways we can allow children to go through this stage of development while also avoiding power struggles. Let's be clear that avoiding power struggles does not mean that we just let children have their way. It is critical that we set limits and stick to them. But we can do that without engaging in power struggles. We want to avoid power struggles because we probably won't win. Oftentimes, we have already lost the battle when we enter a power struggle because our child's goal was to make us angry and engage us in an argument. Also, when we try to overpower our children, they learn that to be important, they need to be dominant over others. We also take the responsibility of controlling their behavior away from the child. This can lead to children, and ultimately adults, who are passive and believe that they are controlled by external forces, rather than developing the skills to exercise their will in a productive way. So, how do we avoid power struggles while still setting limits? First, we have to take care of ourselves so that we are not drained and frustrated. Next, we have to let go of trying to control our children. Remember the triangle. We can control ourselves and the physical environment, but we cannot control our children. Since exercising their will is a natural part of children's development, if we try to suppress it, oftentimes they will rebel. So it is very important that we give children opportunities to have power and practice using their will productively by giving them choices. Virtually anything can be framed as a choice. For example, instead of saying, "Go brush your teeth," we can say, "Would you like to put your pajamas on first or brush your teeth first?" We are not giving in to children and letting them skip brushing their teeth, but we are providing them with agency and control over the situation while remaining consistent and firm. It is important that we allow our children to learn from their mistakes and consequences. For example, if we ask a child to put on a coat before we go to the park and they refuse, instead of getting into a battle, we can say, "Okay, if you choose not to wear a coat, you might be cold, and we might have to come home early." Or if they refuse to get dressed in the morning, rather than wrestling with them and getting them into their clothes, they can go to school in their pajamas with a change of clothes in their backpack. We can say, "Are you getting dressed at home or at school today?" While it is important to remain firm, we also want to offer encouragement and support. Children sometimes dig in their heels about something because they don't believe that they can be successful. We could say, "Is it a little tricky to get your shoes on and that's why you don't want to? I know you can do it, and I'll be right here if you need some help." As much as we work to avoid power struggles, we will probably find ourselves in them. So it is important to have an exit strategy. First, we can give a firm direction and walk away. Children are more likely to follow our directions if we aren't hovering over them, and they can't engage us in a power struggle if we aren't there. We could say, "It is time to get dressed. If you are not dressed when it is time to leave, you will go to school in your pajamas," and then walk away. If the child chooses not to get dressed, we can follow through with the logical consequence. Focus on what you will do and not what you will try to make the child do. We can say things like, I feel angry that you are yelling at me, so I am going to the other room to calm down. Or, you may not hit me. I will go to the other room until you are being safe. We cannot teach or reason with our children when they are in a highly emotional state. So wait until everyone is calm and then follow up with a conversation, and if appropriate, logical consequences. It is important to remember that we don't want to give in to the child. If we have set a limit, we need to stick to it. However, by using these strategies, we can maintain our limits while not engaging in a power struggle. And lastly, we never want to withdraw our love from our children. When children are at their most challenging moments is when they need us and our firm love and support the most. It is important to remove ourselves from the situation if we are becoming angry and frustrated, but we always return with love when we are calm.